All America, all the time. Sit down, buckle up, and get ready for The Dan Bongino Show.
Folks, I've got a treat for you today. If you haven't seen this video I'm going to play in the first portion of the show, you're missing out. As Donald Trump would say, huge, huge. You got to do some hand gestures, too. It's like a Queens thing. We're both from Queens. Huge, huge. It's a video that's played in motivational speeches, leadership training. I've even heard some intel agencies around the world play this as well to show what happens with the effects of propaganda and stuff. However, it's a great video for anyone interested to see how any movement develops, popular or unpopular. You need to see this because it applies. You may be saying to yourself, Dan, you missed that RFK video at Dana Bash yesterday. How did you not play that? The answer is I didn't play it intentionally because it needed an entire block today. And yesterday I was busy, kind of clogged up with other stuff. Because the RFK Dana Bash CNN video about COVID and Fauci and vaccines, it's not even so much about that. That's an important, it's about bigger things. It's about groupthink, propaganda, reverse propaganda, popular movements, and how they start. I'm going to play that for you. By the way, the pivotal moment, big day. It's a huge day. In Michigan, we've got an Islamo-fanatic, nutbag communist and Abdul El-Sayed running who may beat fake voice Haley Stevens in the Democrat primary. And also, Todd Blanche today may move forward and move from acting to hopefully confirmed Attorney General. I work with acting Attorney General Blanche. Obviously, I think he's very good. I think he'd be great for the spot. Good, kind of solid, level-headed guy. He gets it. So that would be great. So it is a big day today. Let me get to the show. I want you to see this video right up in the beginning because it's really important you understand this. It's not the guy who gets up on the soapbox and starts screaming and yelling that starts a movement. It's not. No. It's the first guy who joins him. You'll see what I mean. Hey, I got to tell you about a product I've been using for a while and I really like. Listen, I don't drink that often, but sometimes I'll go out Friday night, have a glass of wine, maybe a drink with Paula on a date night. It's always a lot of fun, but you don't want to wake up the next day and feel like crap. That's the big downside. The hangover, everybody knows the hangover. It's brutal. It doesn't feel good. For me, it's about enjoying a night out, having a few adult beverages and still being ready for everything you have planned the next day. That's why ZBiotics pre-alcohol has become part of my routine. Pre-alcohol is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic drink created by PhD scientists. I've been using it for a while. Life is too busy to have to take a day off after a date night out. It's designed to produce an enzyme that breaks down a byproduct created when alcohol is processed in the gut. Just make pre-alcohol your first drink of the night. Enjoy your adult beverages responsibly, of course, and you're set up great for the next day. In fact, that's exactly what happened when I started using it a while ago. After a night, you take out a date night, you're out with some friends. I took pre-alcohol, was amazed at how, good. You just feel pretty normal the next day. Get up in the morning, you don't have to worry about feeling terrible. I woke up feeling good, could still hit my workout, go on with my day, not feeling sluggish from the night before. Mondays don't move for anyone. Pre-alcohol works overnight, so you can have a real weekend and still show up sharp. ZBiotics pre-alcohol, ZBiotics. How do you get it? You go to zbiotics.com/Bongino, zbiotics.com/Bongino. Use code Bongino. Get a nice savings, 15% off. zbiotics.com/Bongino, code Bongino for 15% off. These statements and products have not been evaluated by the FDA. They're not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition. Give it a shot. ZBiotics. All right, fellas, let's go. Nice. So again, big day. We'll see what happens in Michigan. I would not be surprised at all if Graham Plattner Part 2, Abdul El-Sayed, a communist Islamo fanatic, wins the Democrat primary over there, showing how a mass movement of insanity, socialism, and Islamo fanaticism takes the population. How does that happen? How do a bunch of people pledging to kill the infidels align with another group of people pledging to kill a democracy, the liberals and the progressives? How do they align and get a bunch of suckers? Freaking suckers, sheep, lemmings, whatever you want to call them. How do they get the suckers to follow them into the abyss of stupid? Well, this way, in case you missed it, Dana Bash from CNN, who is really, frankly, folks, is just an idiot. She's really not smart. Dana Bash on CNN, it probably has the most viral clip of her life where she's getting just completely wrecked by RFK Jr., of course, running our Health and Human Services Department in the cabinet. RFK goes on to talk about the COVID vaccine and how, folks, it failed. The COVID vaccine was like masks. You know, the masks. As I say all the time, masks were like the condom where everyone you have sex with gets an STD and gets pregnant. It didn't work. Everyone who wore a mask got COVID. Oh, 99.99 repeating decimal. Nearly everyone who got the COVID vaccine got COVID too. The COVID vaccine did not do what it said it was going to do. Can we just all be honest about that? It didn't do it. I was going through that. I'm sitting in like a cancer hospital dealing with this whole drama myself when it went down. The COVID vaccine did not meet the markers it said. So Dana Bash has RFK on, and RFK's just like, hey, you know, I've actually read the science. You're a journalist, right? Your job is to get the facts out. And her response to this is just fascinating. And it shows you how the media fosters this cult of personality to get you to believe in fairy tale world. Cops are mowing down innocent black men in the street. The COVID vaccine is infallible. The rich don't pay any taxes. The public school system is fantastic and school choice sucks. This is how you get people to believe it, through gaslighting. Dana Bash isn't interested in debating. She even says it. Check this out.
You are talking about things that lead to vaccine hesitancy in this country.
Let me ask you something. Do you see your job as ending vaccine hesitancy, or do you see your job as telling the truth to the American people?
I see my job as telling the truth, and the truth is that there is study after study after study. It's one of the most studied things out there in science.
You're repeating
and it
it like a parrot. You're repeating it like a parrot. I've actually read the science. You don't want to come back here and debate the science.
I'm not debating this with you.
Of course you won't.
No, because I'm not debating.
All you know how to do is repeat things that people told you and say, trust the experts. That's what you did during COVID. Now we know that Anthony Fauci, who was the expert, was lying about everything, about masks, about social distancing, about natural immunity, about the transmission from the vaccine, about the source of COVID. He was lying, and you were punishing people for not trusting the experts. And now you're rolling out the experts again to talk about something that you have no personal knowledge of.
Okay, well, guess what? That is my job, to talk to people.
Your job is to tell the truth to the American public.
Folks, I'm going to tell you something, and I really despise hyperbole. You kind of ruin your own credibility when everything is the biggest, and I'm not really one for that. I'm not going to tell you it's the most important media interview of our lifetime. There have been a lot of them, and who the hell knows what the metric would be for that anyway. I'm just going to tell you that is one of the most important media interactions you're ever going to see in your lifetime or any other. Dana Bash there, but whatever the hell her name, who cares? Dana Bash just got completely exposed. She is speaking authoritatively on a matter she herself acknowledges she's done no research on. I've told you over and over that the last year of my life was the greatest experience of my life. Going back inside the government and seeing the internal mechanics of how things work and getting these intelligence reports daily and then comparing them with what the media says is in the source material you read was one of the most illuminating experiences of my life. It's not just that the media gets it wrong. The media gets it catastrophically wrong. You would think after the Biden cognitive dementia disaster, the Russia hoax disaster, the impeachment hoax, the COVID mask hoax, the vax hoax, and all of this, I mean, they face planted so many times, the media, face plant right on your freaking face. You would think these media people would show an ounce, just an ounce of humility. But no, they peacock. They puff their chests out, nose in the air. They cite their education. Oh, I'm a journalist. I'm not debating. You're not debating. I was told by someone that the vaccine. Did you look it up? Did you look that up? I thought you just said your job was to give people facts. I'm not telling you RFK Jr. is right on everything either, but at least he shows up to debate. If he says something that's wrong, Dana Bash should go and do her homework and say, actually, we've looked that up and that's incorrect. But she doesn't, because she has no interest. I'm not debating is up there with one of the great, and by great I mean worst, great lines in left-wing goon media history. I'm not debating for what the media has become. Folks, the greatest gift the president ever gave me was that job, to see this thing from the inside and then watch from the outside. As people, I'll give you a quick example. I was explaining this to someone this weekend. There were pockets of information that were only available to 20 or less people in the government. They're called like billets. You have to be read into these programs. Some of them are super sensitive. It's not like hey, blah, blah, blah. I'm just trying to make a point. So you know who was read in. And it's a limited handful of people. And you know they didn't leak it to the media because you're absolutely certain. And then you would see like an anonymous source about the same information. The anonymous source was definitely someone not read in on it, who would comment to the media about it, and the story would be totally backwards. The media never goes like, how do you know that? They just take it at face value because it's anti-Trump or anti-conservative or anti-Republican. These folks, I can't emphasize to you enough. I know this isn't like newsflash headline, put on the ticker in Times Square. I would estimate upwards of 80% of what the left-wing media tells you is either completely made up, maybe not by them, but by a source, or a total lie just fabricated out of nowhere. It's not even that they got the source material wrong, it's just they just made it up. Do you understand now how we get this environment we're living in now, where a bunch of young kids believe socialism works despite the gulags, the starvation, the violations of basic laws of freedom and economics? Because you've got media people like Dana Bash on CNN admitting no, I'm not willing to debate the science because some expert like Fauci, who's gotten everything else wrong on COVID, social distancing, masks, the lab leak origin, they've gotten everything else wrong. No, I trust them on that because Trump said otherwise. It is the craziest thing. Are you this stupid? Here we go. Is this not the time, guys? Jasmine, what do you think? Stupid is a choice. Here it is. Here's a Paula special. Stupid is a choice. And then on the back, just for you folks, don't be stupid. Buy this free. It's store.bongino.com. I'm a capitalist. Buy it for your liberal friends. Say, hey, liberal Joey Bag of Donuts, I bought a present for you. Oh, really? This is going to be it. And they open it, watch their eyes. You can then buy that Michael Knowles book, too. What was that book like? Remember that bookie, Things Democrats Got Right, and the book is empty? Put them in the same pack. We love Michael. Put them in a gift pack and give it to your liberal friends. The Don't Be Stupid shirt, Stupid is a Choice, and Michael Knowles' book. Motley's in the chat. Motley's in the chat. Why do you say it that way? I don't know. I've been doing it the whole time. It's just a thing. We're on a roll today, Jasmine. I'm definitely in a mood. This is how you get people like Dana Bash to believe. You get people to form an unsilent majority and to align with fairy tales and stupidity because, ladies and gentlemen, they haven't heard the truth. Watch people like Dana Bash who openly acknowledge, I'm not going to debate the effectiveness of a vaccine. You're not? Would you say that about any other prophylactic medication? Let me just give you an example. You've dumped the word vaccine because you say vaccine, it drives people on the left and they can't think straight. Let's call it a preventative medication. Let's say, Guy, for example, they have a new preventative medication that claims I had lymphoma, cancer. Say it prevents lymphoma if you take it. It's a preventative medicine. It's a pill. You take it. Say that was out. Guy, I'm just curious. Would you want to study to show if it actually prevents lymphoma, or would you just take it? Isn't your dad a doctor or something, right? Like, yes, you'd require some kind of proof. Not down a bash. Folks, now do you see why I had to hold this clip for today? There was way too much talk about it. The show would have been 4 hours long. I cannot say this. The COVID era, my wife and I were talking about this last night because we were talking about how the numbers were crazy in the COVID era because you couldn't get truth anywhere. We were banned from YouTube, Google ads. Everybody tried to like keep our beach ball underwater. But the show, like people would just find it. Rumble, they would go and look it up. The numbers were insane because nobody was being told the truth by anyone. All right, here's the video. I want to show this. If you haven't seen this, it's like the Waukesha Music Festival. So it's a real video, by the way. It's grainy because it's probably from, I don't know, the 80s. It doesn't really matter. But it's a real video. And just to set this up, this video is played in motivational speaking lectures, management section, management symposiums. And it's meant to show people how if you want to start a movement or if you want to get people behind your company and feel motivated, it's not the one person going, my company's the greatest, follow me into battle, whatever. It's not. It's the first person to join in that starts a mass movement of an unsilent majority. And this works both ways. I don't play this video as a tutorial just to show you how to get your baseball team to believe they can win. I play this tutorial because this is also how the left gets one person to stand up, a Bernie Sanders, and go, oh, black men are being mowed down by the cops. The rich don't pay taxes. It's the next person that joins in that starts a crowd. Once you understand the psychology of this, you know how to leverage it in your way. Watch this video. This is so worth your time. Check this out.
The leader is the flint. The first follower is the spark that really makes the fire. Now here's the second follower. This is a turning point. It's proof the first has done well. Now it's not a lone nut, and it's not two nuts. 3 is a crowd, and a crowd is news. A movement must be public. Make sure outsiders see more than just the leader. Everyone needs to see the followers, because new followers emulate followers, not the leader. Now here come 2 more people, then 3 more immediately. Now we've got momentum. This is the tipping point, and now we have a movement. As more people jump in, it's no longer risky. If they were on the fence before, there's no reason not to join in now. They won't stand out, they won't be ridiculed, and they will be part of the in crowd if they hurry.
Folks, this is probably one of the most important social psychology videos you can see. The movement has to be public because you don't want to be ridiculed. The first guy gets up and dances, or let's just make it a real world example. Let's put meat on the freaking bone. The first guy to go out and go, hey, you know the surgical masks with all like the holes and gaps around them and the holes and gaps in the mask itself that a small micron virus can get through? This will stop you from getting COVID. You should wear it. If the first guy says that, no one else joins in, sane, rational, non-crazy people are going to be like, wait, what? Maybe I should look that up. Like this, that doesn't make any sense. A surgical mask prevents COVID. You would then look up the science and you would find out that none of that's actually true. But because Dana Bash says, no, we're not debating it, an expert told me it, no one looks it up. So the way you start a movement is you get everyone to believe this nonsense, the condom that didn't work, the mask. And then the second person gets up and goes, yes, and if you don't wear the mask, we're going to ridicule you rather than ridiculing the guy who's dancing and just said the stupid mask thing. And then everyone else says, well, I don't want to be ridiculed. The mask works. Put the mask on. Hester print yourself. Put the adulterer A on your face. And then like the third, now you're like, oh my gosh, I better rush in before the next guy because I don't want to be a victim of this. Folks, that RFK video is so important because he has a voice. He's done his homework. Maybe he's not right about everything, but don't you have an obligation to then go into, he showed up on your show. This is how you develop a movement, whether it's a good, positive change movement, the MAGA rebellion, the Tea Party rebellion against bureaucracy and big government, or a movement that says put a face condom in your face where everybody gets pregnant. It's the same mechanics. It has to be public and it has to use shame and reverse shame. Reverse shame being, wow, if I don't get up and dance now with everyone else, I'm going to look like the party pooper, to use a phrase from the 60s. My mom used to say, don't be a party pooper. I actually used that phrase this week. That's why I brought it up. I was at a party. This guy is an OG, Martman51. The dancing kid you've showed before. Yes, I have. Because I'm telling you, like, even like intelligence agencies will use this video to show you how crazy ideological propaganda regimes, how they develop a following. It's important. Now I want to show you the positive side of this video. The positive side of this video is once the dam breaks and that first person joins in, not the dancing guy, but the first person gets up and starts doing the crazy dance too. Like the kid, what was his name? The guy from Grey's Anatomy in that movie, Can't Buy Me Love, where he does the ant dance or whatever. I'm definitely aging myself here. Jasmine's like, what are you talking about? Is that a thing? That movie came out probably in like the 40s or something. However, it's funny. The other person to join in starts the crowd. So once the facade cracks, and I think the Fauci moment, to tie the bow on this, the I plead the fifth moment with Fauci, I think was the moment where the dam is entirely cracked now. And now you're going to see even leftists, and I'm going to show you some evidence, are going to have to start coming out. Not all of them. Some of them, it doesn't matter. They'll go down with the ship. Are going to have to start to come out and acknowledge the fact that they got played and start dancing. Quick break. And again, receipts matter. I'll show you what I mean. It's one thing to say, it's another thing to show you what I'm going to show you. Another video by, ironically, Dana Bash shows you exactly what I mean. Hey, you don't wait till your house is on fire to install a smoke detector, right? You don't wait till the wind and rain hammer your windows and the power goes out to prepare for a hurricane. You don't put on your seatbelt after a crash, because after the crash, the hurricane or the house fire, it's too late. Similarly, you don't wait until the dollar goes to zero before you buy gold. It's too late then. Diversify today with precious metals like I do. I've used Birch gold for a long time. You never know what'll threaten your savings next. Diversity is the key. Persistent inflation, a weakening dollar, unexpected financial disruptions. You don't know what's coming. You just don't. Reduce your anxiety. Take a preventative step today. Diversify your portfolio. Do it now by requesting a free info kit on gold from my friends at Birch Gold Group, BIRCH. Just text my name, Dan, obviously D-A-N, to the number 989898. There's no cost. There's no obligation. Just straightforward information on how you can diversify your savings, even an IRA or 401k, with gold. I buy gold from Birch Gold, have many times. You can trust them too. Again, BIRCH Birch Gold, text Dan to 989898. Message and data rates apply. Thank you, Birch Gold. We appreciate it. Today's show also brought to you by Delete Me. People ask me all the time, what do you do about your online security, Dan? How do you get your personal data off the internet? It's so important with all this doxing. The answer is join deleteme.com/Bongino. Delete Me is the place to go. Here's what you got to do. Go to joindeleteme.com/Bongino, enter code Bongino, and you'll get 20% off Delete Me. It's how you protect yourself from stalkers, scammers, and hackers. Delete Me removes your personal information that's being sold online. These days, so much of our personal info is floating around the internet. In the age of AI, it's a real concern. As someone with a really active online presence, privacy is critical to me. I like having a service that does the hard work for me. It finds and removes information that data broker sites have, so I don't have to go do it myself. Take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up today for Delete Me. Now at an extra special discount here for our listeners. Get 20% off. That's a big savings. 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/Bongino. Use promo code Bongino at checkout. The only way to get 20% off is to go to joindeleteme.com/Bongino. Enter code Bongino at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/Bongino. Code Bongino. Privacy matters. Take care of it. Joindeleteme.com/Bongino. Okay, so here's what I mean. So the Fauci moment happened. The Republicans up there just broke Fauci. He has every right to plead the fifth, folks. I mean, I'm a constitutionalist, even for people I don't like, and I definitely don't like Anthony Fauci, considering I believe the guy is just a documented, proven liar. Anything from social distancing, to the lab leak, to the mask, to the vaccine's effectiveness. It's insane what this guy said. that led to real repercussions. Ladies and gentlemen, people died alone. They could not see their spouses or their kids because of recommendations made by this failed bureaucracy that would not let the truth get out there, and the media that covered for them. You probably saw it, but here's just a short clip. This is how it breaks into the mainstream. This is that first and second guy dancing. Very famous quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. You may have seen the clip. But this is not a political show. I mean, this is, but the show I'm going to play for you. Pat McAfee is probably the world's most prominent sports broadcaster. McAfee has Aaron Rodgers on. Aaron Rodgers, whether you love him or hate him, has never been afraid to take a stand on something. He's a quarterback and one of the best ever. I have a signed helmet from him in my house. Not from him personally, but Aaron Rodgers is on this show where a bunch of non-political people are listening. And he said this to Pat McAfee, and this is that first person getting up. The dam is broken, folks. Check this out.
Tell us about the mindset of coming into your last season. Like, that's a real thing, it feels like, because is everything better? Is everything funner? Is everything more awesome? Like, how do you kind of view this year versus maybe the years of the past?
I'm going to plead the fifth.
Okay. Okay.
Like
Gotta love that guy.
Okay.
Like that absolute coward, Tony Fauci. Absolute coward.
Yeah.
Hey, it's back,
Are
baby.
you kidding me?
Yeah. 111
You
times.
got a pardon and you're in front and you pleaded over 100 times
Yeah.
at the White House? What are you scared of, Tony?
Yeah.
I thought you were the science.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought you were I am science, and you get up there and you can't answer a question?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
baby.
And how much time did the network spend at that? How much time did they spend on my responses every week, on my vaccination status, on Taylor and Travis's wedding?
Yeah!
Did they do even a minute? Did they do even a minute on Tony Fauci?
No, I don't think I've heard
Nah,
anything.
I bet they didn't.
Why is that important? Forget Fauci and the vax for a second. Why is that? Listen to the reaction of the crowd and Pat McAfee. They're screaming, yeah. They're all getting up and dancing because now they realize, gosh, I was part of the unsilent majority before, but I thought I was part of the unsilent minority. I thought everyone really believed it. No one believed it. They were just scared. If they didn't get up and dance, they'd be mocked too. If they didn't take the vaccine, they'd be mocked too. If they didn't put the mask on, they'd be mocked too. And now they're starting to realize the whole time I was lied to. Folks, I see this a lot. I would love your feedback in the chat. I don't do gimmicks on the show, like feedback in the chat to try to get interactivity. When it's there, it's there. When it's not, we do the show as normal. But I really would love your opinion on this. I see this a lot. I'm on X and TikTok and other platforms all day doing show prep. These guys can attest to it. I'll send things at like any time from 6 a.m. in the morning till I go to bed like 9 o'clock at night. There's this thread I see on X all the time, like, never again. I'm never going to let this happen again. In other words, the shutdowns and all that other stuff. I don't want to be Danny Downer, or if you're a woman, Debbie Downer. I'm not so sure that's true. I'm not talking about you. Believe me, I am absolutely 100% convinced that the Bongino army out there is not doing this shit again. They're not. They're not putting the freaking face diaper, failed condom on their face. They're not doing it, okay? They're not doing it. I know you guys. But this is what I want your opinion on. Absent, present company excluded, as they say. I'm not so sure this couldn't happen again tomorrow. That some other virus, whatever, Zika. Oh, remember Zika, the Zika virus? And they come out with some other thing, like put the mask back on that we already know doesn't work. I'm not so sure people wouldn't run out. I'll make it even better. Say we had a case of dengue fever. Did you guys see this, Jasmine? It was like Palm Beach. They had a case of I had dengue fever. I caught it in Panama. It sucks, right? That's not even a respiratory virus. It's a mosquito virus. I think like the Aedes aegypti mosquito. It's like a day-biting mosquito. I only know this because I had the freaking thing, and it sucked. I guarantee you tomorrow. See, now the chat's fired up because you guys know I'm right. If there was a mass outbreak of dengue in Florida, God forbid, it's not even a respiratory virus. And some health figure, it's a Trump administration, so, it would, I think they definitely learned from that last debacle, listening to this idiot. However, say Biden was backing up and they came out, put the mask on, I can guarantee you the whatever, 35% of Floridians that identify as liberals would put the mask on tomorrow. I got to read the chat. Wait. Yeah, good. I see a lot of you agree with me. There are way too many sheep out there. I see this thread all the time on X. This is never going to happen again. I'm not sure of that. I'm not sure of that at all. Folks, there are people out there. Do we have to, Jasmine, do we have to do it again? Folks, stupid is a choice. Stupid, there's at least 35% of America right now, probably an underestimate of people who identify with progressive liberal commies who were told stupid shit every day, like put the face condom on and get people pregnant. They're told this every day and they just follow along. We're going to open a government grocery store and sell them for prices that aren't reflections of the market. Well, wouldn't people just go buy them and then resell them and then pocket the price? Oh, we didn't really think of that. The rich don't pay any taxes. You could just look that up, dipshits. You can argue about the rate they pay, but that's just not, you just made that up. It's just not true. It's just not true. It's just not true. That's why I'm not convinced never again is a thing. I thought you were showing me something. Jasmine got up and held up the computer. Looked like she was holding up a sign. Like one of those cue cards or something, like a Hollywood movie where the actor can't remember her lines. Here's why I think also the dam is breaking, though. Even people in the trust the science field, remember I told you I have another Dana Bash video? Even people in the trust the science field are now starting to say like, hey man, yeah, that whole thing about the vax effectiveness and all that other stuff, yeah, maybe we just should have listened. This is how you know a dam is breaking and the music festival is starting to turn into a crowd. Now, people who knew to themselves like they were in the unsilent majority. You knew your friends thought the mask was stupid, but a lot of them did it anyway, are now starting to realize like, man, we are the majority. We are the majority. Watch this clip. You'll see what I mean.
Reshared a tweet that said, among other things, the available evidence overwhelmingly does not show that let me say it this way. You said that the available evidence points towards research-related incidents in Wuhan as the origin of the COVID-19 pandemic, and that we were funding research in an institution where we lacked full transparency into what research was being conducted. You agreed with that?
I did. This is going to surprise some people. You know, when I went into the White House, my view was this was almost surely a natural outbreak, maybe a lab leak. Based on information I learned and based on information I've seen, I have come to conclude that it is more likely to have been a lab leak. Here's the bottom line. No one in the United States knows for sure. The only people who know for sure are officials in China. And we still need transparency and accountability on that. So that is my best assessment. I'm not suggesting I know for sure, but I'm saying my best assessment is that it probably was a lab leak.
Folks, if there was ever a clip, this Dana Bash is just completely humiliated. Well, not only herself, CNN, but the entire left-wing media ecosystem of fairy tales. If there was ever a clip that showed you why trust the experts is always going to fail you rather than do your own homework. I'm not telling you not to listen to experts in the field. Hey man, I go in and I have a problem with my car. I don't know anything about cars. I'm not a mechanic. I'm sure in a pinch, if I watched a Rumble video, I could change oil, but I don't want to screw up my car, so I don't do it. So I don't tilt in the other direction either. Oh, experts are all idiots. No, not all experts are. I would rather listen to the opinion of President Trump on the Iranian nuclear threat, who's getting every single PDB, Presidential Daily Brief intel bit every morning, than I would from some media idiot. But listen to the experts doesn't mean they're infallible and we should trust everything they say. The guy's an expert, and yet he admits in the beginning that he thought this thing had some kind of pangolina, whatever, natural origin. There's no sane person who thought that. How is it that you and me, Joey and Jeanette Bag of Donuts, normal people living in the real world, okay? How is it that you and I am not a virologist. I mean, I've seen contagion and outbreak. I'm not a virologist. How is it that you and I figured it out before this guy? Because we didn't fall for the reverse dancing guy, where the media got up and said, you better tell everyone a pangolin did it. And then another leftist schmuck got up and was like, the pangolin did it. And then the whole crowd of leftists, and you're sitting down like, oh shit, man. Me and Guy were like, what, are we crazy? Like, it was a Wuhan lab that studied coronaviruses, and a coronavirus came out of Wuhan. Like, isn't it fairly obvious? There was like a bat researcher lady studying these exact things from bats. There were like codons and stuff, and there was biomarkers. Like, are we all crazy? You're right. Guy's right. Yeah, good point, Guy. This is, folks, I got to admit, this is a totally racist conversation. Totally. Remember when Donald Trump said, I think it came from China, you're a racist. Totally racist. That's where they go next. Totally racist conversation to suggest that a Wuhan coronavirus bat lab where a coronavirus frequently found in bats, not to hijack Jon Stewart's segment, but I think you see where we're going, may have actually been the origins. That's definitely racist. And suckers fell for it. They all got up and danced to the same narrative. That's racist. That's racist. I have a great guest coming up for you in a little over 20 minutes. If you've never heard of Erin Milan, Molan, you should. Her clips on Instagram and her show, The Erin Milan Show, is fantastic. But I'm going to bring this up with her in a little bit too. The problem, the dancing leftist doofuses, I'm really trying to avoid the F-bomb. I'm sorry. It's not easy, folks. It's a struggle every day. It's like keeping a beach ball underwater. The struggle for the leftist doofuses going forward is going to be, folks, it is not going to be easy to lie about stuff in the future. The easiest lie, again, the mask. You're not going to be able to easily do. I'm not telling you the sheep won't fall for it, just to be clear. Leftist sheep will fall for it. It doesn't matter what you tell them. But not the whole world is leftist sheep. I mean, we elected Donald Trump. There are people who didn't fall for the story du jour. They didn't fall for a story. They followed the story. Those are not the same thing. It's going to make it really hard. Because in the past, if you said something stupid, like, hey, man, the mask is going to prevent COVID and the vaccine is just like 100% effective. It just, remember Rachel Maddow? You remember that clip, Key? It stops transmission like a hatchet. It stops. That was obviously bullshit. In the future, not even in the future, in the now, but in the future as it grows more powerful, the explosion in artificial intelligence, that's going to have to tell the truth. It's going to have to, where the system implodes. You can't tell a system to operate on reason, but not operate on reason when answering political questions. It will implode. Nobody, and I mean nobody, understands this more than Elon Musk. No one. Of course, Grok is his AI system. I like it. It's very good. Elon, who has been in the free speech fight a long time, X, along with Rumble and elsewhere, been in this fight forever. Elon understands that AI, this is a short clip. It's only about 15 seconds. But he said this on, what looks like a red carpet or something. Someone asked him about AI. And he's like, throws a caveat in there. He says, as long as it tells the truth. This is not an accident. Check this out.
I think what's important in training AI and growing an AI is to make sure that it is as truthful as possible and maximally curious. Because I think if that's true, then I think it'll probably foster humanity. But it's very important that it trains to be honest, even if that truth is unpopular.
He says it twice. I was going to put up two fingers. It would be 4 times. Twice. He says it twice. He has said this over. If you follow him on X, I mean, he's got 250 million followers, whatever. He has repeatedly said that AI could be humanity's greatest gift. But I'll tell you right now, it'll be its worst curse if it does not tell the truth. If AI is programmed algorithmically to, in the next pandemic, and some pandemic's going to happen, whatever, Spanish flu, whatever, something else is going to happen. If AI is programmed algorithmically to say, ignore science and reason and tell a bunch of leftist sheep and lemmings and anyone else going to Joey Bag of Donuts AI system, whatever it is, that surgical masks prevent the transmission of Spanish flu, whatever it is. The whole AI system collapses on itself because you're training the algorithm to not tell the truth, which is the only purpose of AI. If you train it to not tell the truth and then you ask it to analyze a spreadsheet and give you the net present value of an investment, is it positive or negative? And it's learned to lie for political reasons. It's going to lie to you about an investment because there may be some environmental impact and you're going to make the wrong decision. I'll talk with Aaron about this later, but I'm telling you, nobody gets this more than Elon. The biggest threat to the unholy alliance of liberal progressive commies, Islamo-fanatics, and I'll throw in the left-wing media Dana Bashes of the world. The biggest threat to them, Dana Bash, I'm not debating that, is that AI does the debate for you. You may say, well, people could get the information. No, hold. Braveheart style. They can. However, Google, Yahoo, all these other search engines that are run by lefties in the past, and lefties even still there now, you and I both know if you went and put in, I wish I could go retroactively, go back. If you were to search on Google or anywhere else, do surgical masks prevent COVID? You would get 20 pages of flattering articles before you would get one critique. You know I'm telling the truth. Folks, come on, be honest with yourself in the chat. How many people go to page 20 of a search? The answer is probably close to no one. That's not what Grok does. Grok goes through 10 million pages and it finds the actual science and tells you the answer lickety-split. You'll be on stage at a debate or something, and you're not going to have to fish through, let me look, hold on. You can just ask the question AI right there. Hey, Grok, did cloth masks prevent COVID? Oh, look at this audience. This guy's full of shit. Dr. Bag of Donuts. He's lying. AI is going to change everything. Now, for the 30% of unholy alliance, Islamo-fanatics, and leftist progressives who don't care about facts. Remember, I said on Hannity last night, their ideology, communism and Islamo-fanaticism, their ideology is immune to reason. It's a religion for them. It's faith. The rich don't pay taxes. No, they do. You can look it up. It doesn't matter. It's a principle of my religion that I say that. Life does not begin at conception. That's not a human being in a womb. What is it, a freaking giraffe? That for you is a pseudo-religion. Those people are not reachable. However, the 20% or so of the population on both the moderate Democrat and sometime Republican side, I promise are very persuadable. I've seen it in elections myself. I've seen it. If AI tells you the unemotional truth, gaslighting people is going to be really, really difficult. Because to get people to believe bullshit about masks or vaccines or elsewhere, you have to isolate them from the truth, which is what the internet did from them. It put it on page 100 and you never saw it. That's why people, leftists, and even some, forget that it's a religion for them, but there are some people in the middle on the moderate Democrat side. And there are some left, I promise. You go to like West Virginia, there are a lot of West Virginia, very conservative people who still vote Democrat. It's a generational thing. Folks, it's real. I mean, it's a very real, it's not a small number of people either. You talk to people like that and they're still convinced of things like Obamacare really worked. Obamacare ran on basically two things. If you like your plan, you can keep your plan, which was false. My plan was canceled. I still have the letter. I put it on, I wish I had it. I'd throw it up on the show. I used to put it on the show all the time. I got canceled. And so did millions of others. So, okay, that was false, correct? You got the letters in the mail. Everyone in the chat, anyone in the chat get canceled? Remember Obama, if you like your plan, you could keep your plan. It was later voted like lie of the year. So that didn't work. Okay, so Obamacare. The other tenet of Obamacare that they ran on was it was going to lower costs. Yeah, I'm going to go a little bit out of order, but can you put the NPR article up first? If Obamacare lowered costs, we've already acknowledged you couldn't keep your plan, right? If you want, that people's plans were canceled. So that was fake. So if Obamacare lowered costs of healthcare, why did the Democrats shut down the government? Look at the date, folks, October 7th, 2025. Remember the government shutdown? Why Democrats are casting the government shutdown as a healthcare showdown? The answer is because they know leftist progressives are stupid. Obamacare was such a catastrophic failure and cost so much money that the Democrats needed more money to subsidize people to pay for the cost of these exploding plans they said would implode, not explode. They said the cost would go down, not up. So they shut down the government and then told stupid people who didn't even go to AI and ask the question. They told stupid people, Republicans are trying to take your health care. And nobody even bothered to look it up. That's not what the fight was about at all. The cost exploded and the Democrats needed more money and didn't want to tell you the truth. So they relied on the unholy alliance of stupid people, media people, Islamo fanatics, and progressive commies to lie to your face. You're seeing it again, too. This report yesterday from Fox. Here's a report on Fox News about Obamacare blowing it again. And folks, this isn't about Obamacare or Fauci and the vax. It's about the bigger issue of don't fall for the op. I told you, folks, that last year, man, you have no idea how many ops are going. If there's someday when it all comes out, you'll see what I mean. There are things we just can't talk about because I worked for you, not for me. I can't it's not the right thing to do. I'm telling you, almost everything you're seeing out there that sounds fishy is probably an op. And I don't mean that some weird conspiracy theory. I mean, there are people paying for you to see the op. I just want to show you this Obamacare thing too. They're saying they can't even keep people from basic things like lying about their income. That should be really easy, right? If you need an Obamacare subsidy from other taxpayers because you claim to not have any money, you should be able to show you don't have any money. The government can't even figure that out. Check this out.
Nonprofit Health Policy Research Group finds that 9.2 million adults, that's nearly half of those enrolled in Obamacare Medicaid expansion program, do not even meet the federal requirements to qualify. How did this happen and how do we know?
Well, this study says some of those people actually make too much money to qualify for this Medicaid expansion program, and others are getting these benefits even though they're here in the country illegally. Now, this study was put together by the Paragon Health Institute, which is run by a former advisor to President Trump. He's alleging widespread fraud here. He says more than 9 million people, as you mentioned, close to half of those using the Medicaid expansion program under Obamacare should not qualify. The report given to Fox Business ahead of a hearing here on Capitol Hill says pandemic-era policies supercharged the issue.
We compared Medicaid expansion enrollment by state to the total number of people who would be eligible for that coverage, have income below those thresholds by state, and found a massive problem.
According to the study, fraud in the program costs taxpayers $32 billion each year, and people who really do need regular Medicaid could be paying the price the most. The study says New York and California have some of the biggest problems, claiming up to 62% of people enrolled in California are not eligible, and the states might not even be incentivized to fix the issue.
$32 billion in fraud? Andy, I'll bet you $32 billion is probably as large as many of the state budgets in the United States. $32 billion. The federal government with $4 trillion in resources. Thank God the Trump team, J.D. Vance, the FBI, DOJ, Colin McDonald, the United States attorney assigned to this. Thank God they're cracking down. Think about this. This is not a small problem. It's $32 freaking billion. They can't even figure out, the massive federal government, how much money you make. Don't they check freaking tax returns or something? This is not hard. The IRS is a function of the government. They can't even figure that shit out. But getting back to my point, folks, I'm in a really good mood. I don't know why. And life has been good to me lately. It really has. We got some big plans coming up I want to tell you about. I'm really excited, but that's for another day. Sean adding to the lineup with Sean Ferris. I just really feel good today. Our new 1776 shirts, 250 years of freedom. I just feel like tomorrow is going to be so much like the AI, the Trump revolution, all of it. But I do feel like on the downside, this is where I was going. I didn't want to lose my train of thought. Folks, almost everything you see that has a whiff of foul odor on the internet is an op. And again, I'm not trying to sound like the Martians did it and space lasers and shit. I mean, it's an actual operation where foreign governments or not just foreign governments, domestic interest groups with an agenda are paying to get you to believe something. How is it that people believe Obamacare worked? Not a single thing. There's no fraud control. The costs are out of control, and people's health care got canceled. That should be like the three horses of the apocalypse. But suckers still believe it. Why? Because there's an op. Because insurance companies and others, and states, by the way, are getting money for Obamacare reimbursements as long as they're the subsidized COVID editions at a rate of something like 9-1. There's an incentive for them to mislead you. I saw this story. You may think this story's crazy, and I don't care. If you ever wanted to see how an op, like even for small things, you may say to yourself, like, you know, I read this thing about cloud computing servers and all this other stuff, and I was to all that. Folks, everything around you is a freaking op that smells like an op. Put up that Wall Street Journal story if you could. I saw this piece, and this is the kind of thing I would almost never put in a show, but it is worth your time. It's by Moira Gleason, Wall Street Journal. It says, the horsemen among the high rises. New York City Council and Mayor Mamdani target another business, the Central Park carriages. Any of you grew up in New York, if you ever go to Central Park, they have the horses and the carriages. So this story, if you ever want to see an op, read this story. Because you'd be like, there's an op in horse-drawn carriages in New York? Yes. There's a real estate group, to sum up the story, that wants the stables these horses are kept in because it's very valuable property. So the real estate group is lobbying all of these people to tell everyone how these horses are being abused, and they're using basically animal rights groups as like you're working, at least on the whether it's formal or not, the messaging is kind of the same. To get people in New York to go, oh, no one but I love animals. I love Lucy. Lucy's like a part of my family. She's my dog. Wow, horses are, except they've actually had independent folks go in there and look at the condition of the horses to go, well, that's not actually true. The horses get the day off. It's over 90 degrees. They're well fed and taken care of. Like, whether you like or hate horse-drawn carriages, doesn't matter. Like, I just want to know the facts. If they're abused, then tell us. But they're not. Everybody has an interest in this story. The horse-drawn carriage people have a lobby for themselves. The real estate guy wants the stable. The animal rights group needs to raise money for donate. The horses are being abused. Everything is a freaking op. I'm telling you, once you see it, you'll never unsee it. When you see it behind the scenes and you see the actual mechanics of it, I wish I could tell you, but you'll be like, I can't believe I got played. That's why it was so refreshing to have done it and get back on the air, to be able to conclusively tell you, you are getting worked by stuff. There was this American Greatness article too. Big hat tip. I'm sorry if I'm saying your last name wrong. Stu Sirk. American Greatness. This is a great piece. The strategic architecture behind Trump's luck. He actually gives me a shout out, which is unnecessary but appreciated. This is another op. Forget about the left. The left hates Trump. They don't even need to be paid. They just hate Trump because they're crazy. Many of them have an interest in power and money. However, Folex MAGA, right? The fake MAGA, the people you thought were MAGA, that every single thing Trump does Everything Trump does, it's luck. These are the people who are supposedly on our side. I see it today. Leave this up for a second, Guy. You can read ahead a little bit. But I see this operation now. Now there's a big op on Twitter. It's an op. Believe me, it's an op about Trump and inflation. If you've seen it, you know what I mean. Inflation is a problem. It's been a problem throughout human history. The degree of the problem is far less than under Biden. You can actually look it up and ask AI. I know you won't, op people, because you're being paid to say others. But there's an op out there going, but Trump screwed up Iran. It's all over. We should have just taken care of the mullahs. And look what happened with the inflation. You're like, oh, that's the lefty. No, it's not just it's the Folex MAGA people putting that out there. Of course, inflation's an issue that has to be dealt with. That's not the point. The point is the op is already out there within it. You'll see it. And anytime Trump does something good, it's always luck. There it is, lucky Trump, making his appearance. Stu Sirk in this article goes through a bunch of examples, but here's just one. So Donald Trump comes in and for the first time in maybe 30, 40 years, shuts the border down to illegal immigration, completely. So there are no illegals voluntarily admitted into the United States or done overtly. None. Shuts it down. I love how you guys pop them in from all different angles. I didn't even know you could do that. I don't know anything about the production over there. So what's the narrative? Because they can't give Trump any credit, Folex MAGA. You'll see them talking about things like, oh, this was already happening. Biden was shutting it down and Trump just took over. That's total bullshit. You can just ask Grok that question. But they don't want to know because it's a freaking op. They'll highlight inflation's a problem. The Dan Bongino show, me, 2 thumbs. I've been talking about inflation forever. Government spending's out of control. I don't care who it is. Trump, Biden, Obama. We got to get it under control. No doubt. But just tell people the truth about when other good things happen too, so they can form an opinion about the effectiveness of the operating government right now. We had some great news yesterday. This is CNBC. It's not the pro-Trump network, CNBC. Here's CNBC yesterday doing a piece on the manufacturing explosion into the United States due to cloud computing, AI. You got electricians, my brother's an electrician, making $250,000 a year working in cloud computing centers and elsewhere. I don't like, okay, you don't have to like them. But at least acknowledge the fact that a lot of people's jobs and livelihoods rely around the United States becoming dominant in AI so China doesn't wipe us out by creating a bioweapon using AI better than ours. Here, you probably didn't see this from the Doomers yesterday, the CNBC clip about the explosion in manufacturing, highs we haven't seen in years. Check this out.
We look at manufacturing. These are fresh July reads from the ISM on manufacturing. Comes in much better than expected, 55.6. That would be the best read in over 4 years, since May of 22.
Folks, you didn't hear any of that from any of the Doomers. They just have, you're obviously in a free republic, under no obligation whatsoever to say anything nice. I am a free speech absolutist. Say whatever you want about me, Trump, others. I'm just saying, if you want to be taken seriously and evaluate the portfolio of work in the year and a half of the Trump administration, talk about, yes, inflation's a problem. You are correct. But does the manufacturing explosion, the reduction in crime to numbers we haven't seen since the 1920s, does any of that matter too? He's bigger on that one. He covers like the whole. Lucky Trump is just expanding. Read that article, the American Greatness article. You'll see what I mean. How everything he does that's right in the Doomers and the left is like, no, that's luck. But everything bad that happens is definitely his fault. The inflation is not a remnant of Biden-era COVID spending blowouts. None of that. He had nothing to do. It's all Trump. Folks, this is a demoralization op, and I need you to see it for what it is. Please. They are dying for us to lose the midterms. Andy, check this show. Audience archivist Judy, remember the date, August 4th. If we lose the House and Senate in the midterms because the Doomers win, Trump sucks, don't even bother showing up and voting. I guarantee you, flags in the chat, I absolutely guarantee you that the doomers are them going to turn around and go, you see, we told you Trump sucked. Look. I bring this up because if you go to this X account, flags in the chat, if you go to this Open Source Zone account, you're going to see that the race is still super close. There are 3 toss-up seats in the Senate. The doomers will make you believe that every single Senate race is lost, every House race is lost. There are 14 toss-ups in the House. That's it. 3 toss-ups in the Senate. Folks, this election is still ready to rock and roll if you show up. Please do not fall for the op. If you've processed all the info, the low crime rates are not for you, the sealed border's not for you, the relative containment of inflation is not for you, then fine, vote against Donald Trump, but just don't fall for the op is all I'm asking. And folks, there's a reason. There's a reason that they're doing this. They want to run their own candidate in 2028. Just sign, seal, and deliver. Cash that check and send it to the bank. And folks, the op people are combining with some of the most dangerous people in the world. The people running the op are combining with the Islamo-fanatic nuts that would kill you in a second. Did you see this viral video out of Oxford Union? Lawrence Fox, it's gone nuclear. I think it's like 10 million views. Lawrence Fox, an excellent commentator. He goes up to debate the Islamo-fanatics, how the Islamo-fanatics have no place in a free society, none. The fanatics, any fanatic on any religion for that matter, who believes in killing you, but the Islamo-fanatics and what they want to do to the infidels, they'll just tell you. They don't even hide it. This is who the left is combining with to take over your country. Lawrence Fox exposes them in a debate, and there's a part of this that's just killer. Watch about a minute of this. It's worth your time. Check this out.
Islam gives you 3 options, as far as I can tell, as a Westerner. Submit. Pay the jizya, the tax, which institutionalizes inferior status for non-Muslims in Islamic states. Or, excuse me, 3, war with Muslims. Right. Notably, within those 3 options that Islam offers you, there is not one option which says, let's live in peaceful coexistence as equals in a pluralistic society. The Policy Exchange report, titled Unsettled Belonging, published in 2016, which claims to be the most extensive research of British Muslims ever conducted, revealed that, let's do it, 43% of British Muslims supported the introduction of Sharia, not British law, Islamic law. 53% prefer to send their children to school with strong Muslim values, suspicious perhaps of Western ones. Maybe, I don't know. 24% sympathized with violence organized by groups to protect their religion. And 35% believe that the Jews have too much power in the UK. 52% compulsory halal. I could go on and on and on and on. But most important to me is the free speech of this. So let's get this out, shall we? 78% of British Muslims believe that no publication should publish pictures of Muhammad.
You got to see the rest of this thing when he opens this envelope. It's just a picture of Muhammad, and there's like a silencer going, like, oh my gosh, you can't do that. Why can't you do that? Why can't you do that? I don't understand why you can't do that. I thought we were with freedom of speech and all that. And then, in what has got to be the most devastating unintentional confession ever of the danger of Islamo-fanaticism, I want you to watch a second piece where one of the supporters of Islamo-fanaticism is like, hey, man, you're really lucky. Like, this didn't happen outside because, man, this could get really ugly. Yes, believe me, we know. We know. Check this out.
Stephen Yaxley Lennon, known to his hooligans as Tommy Robinson. Stephen, there is a crowd outside rioting against you tonight, and without the protection and generosity of a Muslim Palestinian president and a mostly South Asian executive committee, you would be quite literally cooked.
Quite literally cooked. Notice she uses the word literally, and you know I hate the word literally. She literally means it. No, they would like burn you alive. Does she not realize that was a confession? Folks, the unholy alliance of communist progressive libs, Islamo-fanatics, and the media that cover for them will destroy this country, destroy your kids' country, destroy you, and potentially kill you. These people could not be more dangerous right now. That's why they hated my time at the FBI. I just saw a thing pop on an alert. I had just laced into the public school system last night on Hannity. And they're like, epic fail. Like, Dan Bongino's at the FBI. Yeah, we had the lowest crime rates in American history. We had a huge public corruption portfolio, had reformed upwards of 10% of the workforce. Like, I have actual results. We kicked ass and took names, man. We transformed that. We had it humming. You guys have been in charge of the public school system forever. You can't even teach a kid. This is the world these nuts live in that want to align with the Islamo-fanatics. All right, you know about the 1776 concert. Once a week, we give away to a winner $1,776. We pick a comment of the day every day, and we choose a winner once a week out of that pool of comments. The rules are at Bongino.com/1776. Check it out, please. The comment of the day today is Easy Rhino 56. Josh, did you pick that? This may be a unanimous selection. I just read it again. I trust Taco Bell lettuce more than I trust Fauci. Everyone go to the chat right now. Easy Rhino, RHINO 56, Easy Rhino 56, and give him a round of applause. Or give him a Muttley, even better. That's good.
I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth.
5, I plead. I got a great guest coming up for you. Louder chat's blowing up. Muttley's in the chat. Erin Milan, if you don't know her, she's gonna set it on fire. She's just fantastic. So check that out coming up. Hey, if you're still starting your day with that watered down big corporate coffee, don't do it. Drink what we drink here, Blackout coffee. And this brew is pretty amazing. Brutal, you get it? Brutal awakening. That you want to get up in the morning and taste some good coffee that's bold, not bitter? Blackout Coffee. They're a small American company that shares your values. They roast some of the best coffee I've ever had. Don't just buy a bag. Join the coffee club like I do. Your coffee shows up automatically. You save money. You get free shipping. And you're never stuck drinking bad crap coffee again. We're against the crap coffee movement. We support Blackout Coffee, which is great coffee. Plus, you start your stacking rewards up, and they'll hook you up with a bonus credit after a few deliveries. Right now, they've got some really cool limited releases for the 250th anniversary of the United States. You're not going to want to miss those. Go to blackoutcoffee.com/Bongino. Use code Bongino for 20% off your first order. Brutal Awakening is awesome. This is my morning selection right here. Why I'm in such a good mood today. That's blackoutcoffee.com/Bongino. Blackoutcoffee.com/Bongino. Join the coffee club today. Trust me, once you switch, you're not going back. Welcoming to the show, one of my favorite accounts to follow everywhere on X and Instagram, and her show. I don't have time to listen to a lot of shows, but I check out hers. Erin Milan, Molan. If you haven't heard of her, she's absolutely fantastic. Erin, welcome to the show. What an honor to have you.
Dan, bless you. Thank you so much for having me. You're the only person I would stay up this late for. And the second sacrifice, I usually would have had like 8 or 9 crack pipes by now, and I haven't had one. You're welcome.
Crackpots. I don't know what that is, but it must be like footy, like some word you use over. What's crackpots? Coffee or something?
Crack pipes. Your crack pipes. Put down your crack pipe.
That's my favorite line. I keep telling the socialists that. Stop smoking the crack. Remember, there was a commercial when I was a kid. Crack is whack. I'm a lot older than you, but don't do the crack. Which actually kind of, you know what? I'm going to go in reverse. I had a bunch of questions for you, but it actually segues nicely into question number 1. about this reemergence of socialism that you have been speaking so vocally about, warning people about. You're on the other side of the earth. However, this is a persistent generational problem. And I always tell them, put down the crack pipe, because if you're a sane, logical person with an IQ above 80, all you have to do is go to like ChatGPT or Grok and say, hey, has socialism ever worked? And it hasn't. It's led to death, destruction, deprivation, poverty, famine every single time. But it's almost like a religion for the left, right? They keep saying, no, have faith. It'll happen again the next time. And it won't.
You're spot on. It's complete insanity. And let me tell you, for starters, I was in New York City a couple of months back. No free buses, tried to catch a free bus, nearly got arrested. Went into a grocery store, walked out with milk, nearly got arrested. There was no free childcare. Even the promises of it, they don't deliver on anything. And I'm looking at Mamdani today, again, pushing this BS socialist, communist, crazy rhetoric that nobody should believe, but of course they lap it up. And he's now saying you might need ID to go to his government-run grocery store, but God forbid you should have to show it when you vote. A rational person should be watching all of this and saying, yeah, he's got a cute smile, and yeah, he can deliver a line, and gosh, he's great with kids, but he makes absolutely no sense, and what he is selling has not been successful anywhere else in the world. That is significant. I'm not saying that we can't have miracles, be pulled off every now and then, but it ain't going to happen with socialism. And the silence from the normal Democrats, Dan, is driving me crazy. I want there to be two strong parties in America. The rest of the world benefits when you have a strong system where one is not just completely losing its marbles, and it is.
Right.
These people are crazy, you're right, and they're basing it on, well, have faith. Well, sorry, nothing they ever promise is delivered. And thank God for that at the moment, because it's crazy.
Yeah, I agree with you that the cleanup job, this is a really hard truth to have to kind of feed to people. I was on with Hannity last night on Fox, and I brought up this point. The cleanup of this socialism mess is really got to be done by the Democrats. I only say that because people like you and me and Sean and Mark and Shapiro and people who've been in this space forever, Adam Carolla, he's been the original podcaster. They've been warning about socialism forever. And I think that takes amongst a subset of America that's open to new ideas. You got your diehard Democrats, your diehard Republicans, and then there's that, 20% in the middle or so that are persuadable. But the problem is the cleanup has to happen on the Dem side. You're seeing it a little bit, Van Jones, Bill Maher starting to warn people. But what I don't see, I played in the beginning of the show this famous Dancing Man video where the one person starts dancing and then the second person joins in, the whole crowd is like, there's only like one or two people dancing right now, and it's not a crowd of Democrats. They have to clean this up. We've been talking about this stuff forever. They have to do the cleanup job.
You're spot on. And as you said, it can only come from them, but they're unwilling to do so. And they're so hypocritical. You can poke a million holes through any political movement or party, but Republicans, and I've seen it, we've seen there are elements of the MAGA movement that have gone completely rogue, that don't represent anything that MAGA was created to do. And you see people calling it out, both from within the movement and those that maybe are on the peripheral, on the edge. The Democrats, you've got Fetterman. And you're right, Van Jones. But the bulk of them are completely silent. I mean, right. I'm watching a bloke with a Nazi tattoo, and I'm seeing women on The View going, yeah, he's cute. Whoopi.
Right.
I didn't know it was enough. Like, come on. You've got to actually call out your own. And I get that it's difficult. I get that there can be repercussions, but don't pretend to stand for something when you stand for absolutely nothing.
Bloke. Every time it's not like I've heard the word 10,000 plus times, but every time I hear it, I just love the bloke. A bloke with that actually happened here. The fact that I wonder if people even on the other side of the earth are like, wait, did a guy in the United States actually win a major party primary with a effing Nazi tattoo? The answer is yes. Yes, it's embarrassing. I just want everyone to know in Australia, the UK, Japan, democracies around the world, this was not a Republican thing. The Democrats own this. We warned them. They voted for this idiot. We've got nothing to do with this guy. But that story, Erin, we're talking to Erin Milan, Molan. Check out her show, Erin Milan Show, eponymously named. I talk about this unholy alliance all the time. Big hat tip to David Horowitz. He wrote a book about it. How I get this question, you probably get it yourself, like, I don't get it. How is it that the LGBTQIA2+, whatever they keep adding on, how is it that they align with the Iranian regime, the Islamo fanatics and the Islamo Nazis out there? Like, they would throw them off the roof. And Horowitz explains very simply, they both have one goal, which is tyranny and power. And to get that tyranny or power, they have to get something out of the way. And that something is you, people who believe in anti-tyranny and believe in individual liberty. That's the only reason. This is all about power, but it's very dangerous.
Oh, it's super dangerous. And even, when Mamdani was campaigning in gay strip clubs, and I'm watching going, what he wants to introduce would not tolerate you for a nanosecond. And it's the same as what we're seeing in Berlin. And we're seeing an Islamist terrorist driving a car into a parade. And then you're seeing the organizers of the LGBTQ, et cetera, coming out and saying, now don't let this divide us and don't let this make you hate them. Well, sorry, but if that is not enough to wake them up, what is? Because I kept thinking, watching this, Gays for Gaza and just the greatest fools on planet Earth running cover for a regime that hangs them from cranes. I'm thinking, you know what? This is horrific, and I hope like hell it doesn't happen. It will take something disastrous for them to wake up and realize that the movement they're aligning themselves with doesn't want them. But the point you make is brilliant in that they actually don't care. They don't care if it ends in their own destruction. They will do anything for power. They have the same shared goal. They just don't realize that once this mob is done with the other mob, the mutual mob they hate, this mob is going to kill them too. That's the ridiculous element of it.
Obviously you're correct. It's why I enjoy your content so much. But it's just, that's the part I don't get. And I feel like I really have a pretty good feel for the pulse of the left. I mean, for 10 plus years, I've been studying I worked in a White House with Barack Obama as a Secret Service agent. You hear these people talk. I feel like I've got a good pulse. But this is the end game for, it's not like the Islamo fanatics are in any way cryptic about what they're going to do to the infidels. I mean, they openly advertise it all the time. It's just so troubling. And it brings me to my next question about this cannibalism theory, which again, you kind of segued unintentionally, but nicely too. This idea that when your only end game is power and not the advancement of individual liberty, the idea of a representative democracy and any of that, eventually you have to turn on people who you perceive to be in your own tent. Because I'll give you an example. Maybe it's better explained this way. I noticed during the whole cancel culture thing you and I went through during the Obama and Biden years, where any conservative who said anything about COVID or mask, everybody got canceled. What started to happen is even any leftist that spoke out and did not, toe the company line was canceled too, because they all have to cling to their power, and their power is threatened when one of them says it. They're not interested in truth, they're interested in power. And I think you're right. That's what's going to wind up happening is if they do win, the LGBTQ plus and DEI folks are going to find out the hard way that their bedfellows are not fellows at all.
I mean, can you imagine? I mean, look at Dearborn, Michigan.
Right.
I mean, how is that ever going to be now moving forward a safe haven for anyone in the LGBTQ, et cetera, plus community? It won't be. They cannot coexist. It doesn't work. The Muslim Brotherhood, you talk about the fact that they're not exactly backwards in coming forwards. They're not hiding their intentions. I mean, they've written it all out. It's like a 10-point bloody plan. Yet we're still going, hey, how can we assist you? And they're leading the way for it. It is self-destruction. We are the architects of our own demise. And you're right, this cannibal, I mean, you talk about it all the time. It is exactly what it will end in their misery, death, and destruction. And no one seems to give a tinker's cuss because they want power more than they can see anything else. And you're right, they'll eat their own. And we see it. It's not an alliance that can coexist. And I make the point as well. You look at, I mean, the Islamic regime of Iran, for example, that they've also decided to throw their considerable, in some cases, weight behind. I mean, they would drop a nuke on America and kill all of them in 2 seconds.
heartbeat.
They would not be sending a text, oh, hey, Ayatollah. In fact, maybe the Ayatollah would actually be more sympathetic given his own leanings, allegedly. But he's not going to say, hey, you know that group of lesbians that protested for us? We should spare their lives before we do. Yeah, nah, I don't think so. It's just dumb. It's so dumb, but it's dangerous, and that's the issue. And that's why voices like ours are needed, because the issue is that we can't just say, let's put them in a box and laugh at them. People actually buy into it, and they start to believe it. And we've seen what can actually happen when they get too much power.
You know, I could tell you're a broadcast pro, given your experience. You do the throw. Well, you know, sometimes I'll interview guests who are new, and they don't do the throw.
Yeah.
There's a way to end your sentence where the host knows, like you just did it. You got go back and rewind, folks. You'll see what I'm saying. Like with new guests, they don't know, and you don't know. So yeah, then you get the and you don't know when to talk, and because there's always a delay, like people who've been in the business know to throw it, and then they stay quiet for a second.
I'll give you a good inflection, Dan.
Right?
You will know when I'm done, my friend.
Yeah, you got a lot of experience in the space, so I see it here. So, you know, you're I really enjoy your clips. I see a lot of them on Instagram, and I know you're a pretty astute observer of not just politics in the United States and elsewhere, but around the world. And I had Gad Saad on, and he was talking about this idea of suicidal empathy, that these liberals, they just everything is like a bumper sticker. Tolerance, coexist. Well, you know what, Erin? Some people don't want to coexist with us. Some people, have we been discussing, just want to kill us, and they've said it. Do you notice a trend, whether it's in Australia or the UK? I shouldn't say a trend, a growing, flourishing trend. There's always going to be people who are just fed up with this. Like you see it in the UK. Tommy Robinson's been doing a lot of good work over there with this whole unfettered immigration idea. I know this problem is not, limited to the United States, where thankfully Donald Trump has shut it down. But this unfettered immigration, like all cultures are welcome. No. If your culture says kill me, you're not welcome here. Are you seeing a trend around in other democracies in this direction too, to fight against this stuff?
Absolutely. And what I'm seeing, which is somewhat comforting, Dan, is that there is starting to be a pushback that wasn't there even 5-10 years ago in a country like Australia. And again, you'll have people who say, oh, that's so racist. You've got no heart. You don't care. Sorry, my care and heart lies with the women in Spain right now who are now victims of crime because tens of thousands of fighting age men have broken through. The empathy that so many on the left have extends to their enemies, but never their own people. It makes no sense, but I feel like people are jack of it. They're waking up to it and they're going, wait a minute, it's not empathetic to allow people smugglers to bring thousands of people in on boats, half of whom drown at sea. My dad was a major general in the army, Dan, and he's a big reason that I have, and it's courage. It shouldn't be courage. I tell the truth. But I say what I believe and I stand up for what is right. And I watched him do that. He fought in Iraq. He was chief of operations for the US forces, the first Australian general to do so. He then entered politics, and he said that was a hell of a lot harder than war, to be honest with you, a hell of a lot more brutal. But one of the things that he became known for in Australia was Operation Sovereign Borders. So along with our Prime Minister at the time and the Defence Minister, he came up with the plan to stop the boats. He was the architect of it. And all of these leftist dick shits, oh, sorry, I probably can't swear. Can you beat that out? All of these leftist
because cursing is, I'm from Queens, New York. That's not even like really cursing. If it's not the F word or another word that's even worse with 4 letters that ends in T, it's not really a curse. So no, we're not going to bleep it out.
Thank you. I just hope my mother doesn't watch. Perfect. But they would attack him and say, this is so cruel. Don't you feel for that 2-year-old child off the coast of Java, Indonesia, who's struggling, or there's this conflict, or there's this. And he'd say, you know what? What I don't want is to encourage the trade and have that child drown at sea. We had children drowning at sea. And for some reason, the leftists in this country thought it was more empathetic to encourage a trade of evil scumbags to attempt to bring them over illegally and kill them than it was to say, no, we must protect our borders, go through the right channels, and if your case is legitimate and genuine, we will welcome you in. We are a country in Australia. We've had some of the most incredible people come to this nation, embrace our culture, contribute to who we are, believe in what we stand for, respect the sacrifices that have been made. Italians, Vietnamese, the Greek, we've had so many. You know what my bar is, Dan, and you said it brilliantly earlier. We are now seeing people come into my country legally who want to kill us. And forgive me, I'm not Islamophobic, I'm not racist, I'm not a bigot. I just don't want people coming into my country that might kill my 8-year-old child. My standard and bar is really low. I lived in Indonesia, a country, the largest Muslim population in the world. I speak the language fluently. I go back often. I go and volunteer at Muslim orphanages. I have a huge passion for that country. I go in, I respect the culture, I cover my shoulders. I don't go and try and force where I've come onto them. And you know what? The irony is, Dan, in so much of this, and particularly in Arab nations around the world as well, Muslim nations, they would not tolerate 1% of what the West tolerates when it comes to Islamic extremism. The latest president of Indonesia, and I get passionate, so give me a second. I promise I will end in a second and give you a throwback. But the president prior to Prabowo, he ran his campaign essentially on eliminating Islamic extremism in the world's largest Muslim nation. And the people said, hell yes, and he did it. Almost entirely, they went hard on those who were perpetrators, and they went into schools and they sorted ideology. Now, it's not perfect, but if a Muslim nation, the largest in the world, is allowed to say publicly, we don't want Islamic extremism here, then why the hell can't my government in Australia say it after an ISIS gunman on a bridge in Bondi gunned down Jews and other Australians this year, yet we're too afraid to say Islamic extremism because that might be considered Islamophobic or racist or BS. Muslims call it out, so we should be able to bloody do it here.
I spent a good amount of time in Indonesia. SBY was the president when I was there, and General Norman was my counterpart. Yeah, I was over there for a while. I'll have to tell you a story offline sometime about Indonesia and fighting Muslim extremism. It involves me running in a gym early in the morning and watching a news report and going, that guy looks familiar on the news. I'll tell you, it's probably not good for the air.
I am excited.
Yeah.
Because my dad was in East Timor, and there are stories they talk about where he got off the airplane. There were all these citizens they were evacuating, and he walked up to a truck with militia on there with guns drawn. I mean, we've got wartime stories, but you know that's the stuff, and that's why you actually put your money where your mouth is. You have shown courage beyond just words, and your country is so lucky to have you. Thank you for your service.
Wow. Thank you. That was very nice. I always say, get that on tape, guys. Whenever I'm depressed, you can play that for me, Andy. Over. Get them on loop. I want all these positive comments from my guests. Can you put them in a file? Sometimes I come in like the black cloud. These guys know what I didn't sleep good. You can just play me like a 20-minute roll of people on loop. I need that. Aaron, last question for you. Yeah, you did. I really do. Sometimes I come in and it's been a bad night. You know, AI, obviously, there's been 1,000 conversations about AI, from everything from data centers to the economics of it, to how's it going to work, to the threat from it. However, one of the arguments I put up earlier in the show is I had Elon Musk, a clip of him, and he's talking about how basically if AI tells the truth, it's a real threat to the left. Now, this is the problem we've had for the last, say, 20 or so years since the internet has really, really flourished. I mean, it's around longer than that, but really flourished. If you were to go to the internet, and I'll throw out a random leftist fairy tale. Police are shooting thousands of unarmed black men every year, killing them, mowing them down the streets. It's not true. It's factually inaccurate. You're either dead or you're not. Like the police either killed you or they didn't. The number is about 11. And even of those cases, many of them are adjudicated. Some are just bad uses of force and the police officer goes to jail. But it's not thousands. It's not even tens. So the problem I think the commies are going to have in the socialist media going forward is in the past, people would go to the Google machine and put that in there. And the first 20 articles, which is all anybody would get to ever, no one goes to page 10, would be some leftist take on that, NPR or whatever, implying somehow that some of this crap is true. That's not going to be the case with AI if it works as intended. Some kid who hears this shit on TV is going to go to ChatGPT or whatever and say, hey, are the cops mowing down unarmed black men by the thousands? And if AI is doing its job, it's going to say, no, that's not true. The numbers are 11 or less. I think Elon says it right. He's like, that's why he loves this AI and Grok and everything so much, because it just crushes the fairy tale ecosystem.
It's such a brilliant point, and so much of the focus so often is on the downside, isn't it? The negative side. And as much as I listen to your show every day, I hadn't thought of it prior that point. And the greatest enemy of the left is truth. Access to that truth and succinct, easy to digest access, particularly for young people. So AI is actually going to be one of the greatest tools that we have as people who tell the truth and who rely upon it. It's brilliant. It's actually that I'd never thought about that upside of it. But
yeah, it's
Elon's
so
right.
easy for them. Whereas in the past, there's when I was in guys, can I get a dispensation on the education thing? He's thinking, I don't know, Andy. Okay, he's giving me a thought. But we have a rule in the show: if you ever mention your education, you're probably an asshole. Anyone who goes, I've got an MBA, and I hate it. It's like, if you're smart, you don't need to tell me.
Can I mention my education? Can I just do it once?
We'll give you a dispensation. Yes. Wait, hold on. Andy, is that okay? All right, Erin.
Are you ready?
Because you're a first-time guest, you can go.
I dropped out of university 6 times. I have not completed 1 unit, and I have paid an entire degree of fees for not 1 unit completed. You're welcome.
Andy's like, we love you. You're welcome back anytime.
Thank you.
Hate that drives me freaking bananas when people do that. However, I only bring it up because one of the first things in any business school they tell you is this Porter's 5 forces. It's just how advantages people have, these 5 forces in business. And one of them, of course, is barriers to entry. It's not a good thing. However, it's not. You want every company to flourish, but it doesn't hurt if the government has a bunch of rules for you to start a business, because most people don't have the money to get a lawyer to comply with the rules. So big business actually loves regulation because it's a barrier to entry. I bring that up in the context of the conversation we're having about AI because, Google and others in the past that leaned far left, the barrier to entry was you had to get to page 20 to find the first article that said, that's not true. Police aren't mowing down unarmed black men by the thousands. It was a barrier that no one would get there. Now with AI, the barrier's totally gone. All you have to do is hit send, and it gives you all the entire body, or as John Brennan would say, that clown corpus of research, just like that. And I think that's the game changer going forward.
I'm excited about that element of it. And there are elements that terrify me, but that is something to immensely look forward to. Bring it.
I mean, think about it. I got to run, but think about it. This is like, you're going to be, I know you do a lot of these symposiums and debates and public appearances and stuff. You're going to be on the stage with some clown lefty who's going to say that. Or he's going to say something like, Donald Trump colluded with like another fairy tale, colluded with the Russians. You're going to be like, hold on, give me a second. You're going to take your phone out. You're going to go, let's test that theory right here. Here we go. I got it on my phone. Here's the ChatGPT app on Dan's phone right here. You're going to say, are police mowing down? It's going to say no. And you're going to show the audience, and the guy's going to look like a clown because ChatGPT is not even run by a bunch of conservatives.
It's going to happen automatically. It'll be all around us. I won't have to type a thing. This is where it will get to. Right. Well, actually, it'll be attached to us somewhere and do it in real time. And
I've actually seen that.
They won't believe it.
I've
Yeah,
seen that in
it's
debates. I'm
insane.
sorry, I forget which one, but they had an AI thing in the background. And if this thing is
Yes,
honest,
they
the
did. It was
Democrats,
CNN, I
what a
think.
shit show it's going to be for them, you know?
They
All right,
won't
I
get a
definitely
word
gotta
out.
I'm way
Bless.
over time here, but I want to get a promotion in again for your show. She is Erin Milan, Molan. You can see it on the screen, host of the Erin Milan Show. You should really check it out. Give her a follow on Instagram. Give her a follow on X, all the social media platforms. She's fantastic, speaks the truth. She's definitely not one of these NPC nutbags that just says the current thing. She fights the current thing. That's why I want her. And you're welcome back anytime, Erin. Thanks for your time today. You're fantastic. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me, Dan. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You got it. I told you, folks, we only try to bring you the best guests. That's why we don't do a guest segment every day. I think frankly, sometimes they can get a little bit exhausting and you start fishing for it. We never want to fish for guests. We go see someone we find interesting, we bring them to you. We don't find them interesting, we don't. We'll do the show ourselves. But I watch our clips on Instagram and elsewhere, and they're just really fascinating. I can't stand the whole NPC crowd that just falls for the current thing. It's just, I've been in this business over a decade. I've seen people come and go over and over again. And the people who wind up fleshing out and just, losing it, flashing the pans are the people who fall for the current thing stuff. It's not one of them. So check the show out. Another show to check out is going to be the new Sean Ferris show, Sean Ferris Live, starting August 17th on our network here. If you want to follow his accounts, please go to Bongino.com/Sean, SHAWN. You'll find all the links there. You'll find X, YouTube, Rumble, all of it. You can follow him, Apple, Spotify. Give Sean a follow. He's excellent. It's going to be starting August 17th, at 1 p.m. Eastern. And every single day, every day, you got Vince at 8 a.m., Vince Ace, rumble.com/Vince, and Haley at noon, rumble.com/Haley. Folks, thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I will see you back here tomorrow.
The news moves fast, but the truth should not get lost in the chaos. I'm Sean Farish, and this is Sean Farish Live. Each episode brings you the biggest political stories of the day, common sense analysis, sharp humor, nobody does a better job, everybody's talking about it, and straightforward conversations about the issues shaping America's future. From Washington to the culture wars, from breaking news to the rising stars in the movement to save our country, we will cover what matters most and why. If you're tired of the spin, the fake news, the phonies, and the losers, and you're ready for informed, entertaining commentary that gets straight to the point, you are in the right place. Catch the show live on Rumble weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time and subscribe anywhere you get your podcasts. I'm so excited to have you along for the ride. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.